Dasha and Austin on B105. It is your B105 Buzz, brought to you by East Central Energy, member-owned, homegrown, community-focused since 1936. So I have some sweet news to kick things off, because lately I've had such a bad sweet tooth and I really don't know where it's coming from, but I'm not mad about it. So I was in Canal Park the other day and I noticed that there was a lot of bright blue signage that said coming soon, spring 2025. I'm like, what is this? It was in the DeWitt Sites Marketplace building. So did a little online research and I discovered that it looks like it's going to be a new donut shop called Voyagers Donuts. It's going to be in the former Northern Water Smokehouse location where there's like a walk-up window and all that. So don't know too much about the business. There's like nothing about it online just yet. Not supposed to open until spring 2025, but you can see the photos and learn a little bit more right now on your B105 app. And then on the topic of food, of course, because this is the Breakfast Club, my coworker Tony from Mix 108, he got to go and try out some new food items for Bulldog hockey season, and I am so jealous. He invited me, and I was like, can't go today, and now I have FOMO. So some of the things that they have this year, all of it looks incredible, by the way. A Cloverdale barbecue chicken chipper, mac and cheese. There's two types of mac and cheese. One of them is jalapeno popper mac and cheese. There's a chicken sausage. There's a pretzel with nacho cheese, French fries, my favorite food, and then chicken bacon ranch pizza as well. So you can read the review, a little bit more about each item, b105country.com. And this just makes me want to go to a Bulldog game. I mean, I already want to go to one, but I need to go taste all of these. So, like I said, see those photos, b105country.com or on your B105 app. Coming up, Morgan Wallen and Ernest, Florida Georgia Line, Billy Currington and more. Cody Johnson, Dirt Cheap on B105. Lauren's Country Lowdown now. So much happened over the weekend. So Kelsey Ballerini, she celebrated her 31st birthday on Thursday, and I just think it's incredible how she started off in country music like 10 years ago. And she was super successful right off the bat, but now, so far into her career, she's like soaring to new heights. And so she announced last week one show at Madison Square Garden, and tickets went on sale on her birthday, and it sold out in just a few minutes, which is like such an incredible honor. It's going to be October 29th, and she also has a new album coming out in October, so it's kind of, you know, an album release concert as well. But that is just like a huge accomplishment. And she took to social media and she shared a photo of her with balloons that spelled out Madison Square Garden. And she said, I'm actually speechless. So I just think it's cool to see. Congratulations to her and happy 31st birthday. She also scored 2 nominations at the CMA Awards, and you can read about those, b105country.com. Garth Brooks, he is ending his Las Vegas residency. I was lucky enough to actually get to go to this residency over the summer. My best friend and I went. It was at Caesar's Palace, and he just shared dates for the final 3 weekends now. So he did add some new shows for 2025 that were announced on Friday, and he already has some dates on the calendar as well. But this is going to be like the last run. So the new shows span 3 weekends in February and March, but March 9th will be the final show. Cannot recommend it enough. And honestly, of all the concerts that I've been to over the past few years, it was like honestly the cheapest. Tickets were so reasonable. I think for seeing Garth Brooks, I paid like $120 or something, which yes, that is a lot of money in today's day and age. But like for a concert these days, that is not that bad. So highly recommend. And it's likely he'll do, something else after this. He kind of has a pattern of doing some not crazy things, but, some unexpected things. So we'll stay tuned for what he's up to next, and you can read about that, get tickets, all that good stuff, b105country.com. And last but not least, Tim McGraw. He has a daughter. Well, he has a few, and one of them, Gracie, she's always posting on social media her singing. She's actually super talented, and she's studying acting and singing right now in school. And she was just announced as a cast member on an off-Broadway production, the cast of Babe, which is really, really cool. It's about 2 music producers. So obviously that is right up her alley. She can probably, ask her dad about that and for some advice. But it opens October 29th in New York, and it's going to continue through December. So really cool to see. You can read more about that, b105country.com. And Kenny Chesney, American Kids, 7-Eleven on the Breakfast Club with Ken and Lauren. Today, going to be another hot one, but partly sunny. Chance for showers and storms, but yeah, high of 83. So going to be warm. Once again, we'll talk to Leah Zmerko from WDIO at about 8:30 to find out when we're going to cool off a bit. But I teased this. I saw this over the weekend. I actually screamed because this is just hilarious and amazing. So at Black Bear Casino over the weekend, there was the famous I Love the 90s tour stop. The I Love the 90s tour has been going on for a while, and it's all of like the iconic 90s stars performing in one place, right? Like, it is amazing. So Vanilla Ice is a big part of that. And Pedro's staff, of course, I'm talking about Pedro's Grill and Cantina. It's famous in our area. Everybody knows about Pedro's and loves it. He went there and dined while he was in town, and he happily took pictures with staff, and there are people in the background of the photo that are super excited as well. You really can't miss him. You know, he definitely sticks out, and so I just thought that was funny. And then the comment section of this post was my favorite because so many people were like, did he stop, collaborate, and listen? And they were just making funny jokes. But if you're curious what he ordered, a chili, I can't say this word, Rayano special combo. Probably saying that wrong. But anyways, Vanilla Ice in town dining at Pedro's. I love it. I love when this happens. I mean, to some people, you know, if you live in LA or New York or whatever, it's not a big deal. But when you live in the Northland, you know, you don't get that many celebrity encounters. So thought that was cool. You can see the photo. I just love it. B105country.com. Time now 7:13. Coming up, your brain teaser question, Morgan Wallen, new Luke Bryan, and more. Time now is 7:21 on the Breakfast Club with Ken and Lauren. Today might see some showers and storms, otherwise partly sunny with a high near 83. And as always, we have your brain teaser question. So it goes like this. A new study says this type of show is actually good for your brain. Now, I'm going to give some hints here. It's not Law & Order. That's what I watch, and I tell myself, no, it is good for my brain because I'm learning. But that's not it. It's more of a show that I feel like it is a nightly ritual for people on pretty much every day of the week. People like watch this after dinner. It's kind of their thing. It's not a soap opera either. So a new study says this type of show is good for your brain. Think of like the classics. You know, when you were like sick and had to stay home from school, what were you watching? So think about that. 727-B105, call me up. A new study says this type of show is good for your brain. Time now is 7:25 on the Breakfast Club with Ken and Lauren. We have your brain teaser question. I gave a lot of hints because we need that on a Monday. A new study says this type of show is good for your brain. What is it? I said it's not Law & Order or Hawaii 5-0. Let's go to the phone. B105, what do you think?
Wheel of Fortune.
So that would be correct. What would you call Wheel of Fortune? What type of show is that?
Like a game show?
Yep. I'll give it to you now. I would have given it to you anyways.
Awesome.
Do you watch like Wheel of Fortune and all those fun shows?
Yes, and my 4-year-old loves Wheel of Fortune after dinner.
Oh my gosh, your 4-year-old's probably going to be a genius.
Yeah, hopefully he's on there someday.
Yeah, well, then you'll have to circle back and call us back. But who's this?
Tara.
Tara, congratulations. You have some Papa Murphy's. You can eat that while watching Wheel of Fortune.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, Tara. Yeah, apparently watching game shows. Good for your brain, which kind of makes sense if you think about it because you're like having to think. And if you're watching Jeopardy, then you're learning stuff. I would not make it through one round on any game show. So there you go. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same place. In the meantime, we have another check of your weather forecast coming up. The new one from Luke Bryan, Dustin Lynch, Luke Combs, and more. In the meantime, 7:22 on B105. Good morning. Time now is 7:47 on B105. We have lots to talk about in Lauren's Country Lowdown. So if you watched the Emmys last night, you spotted Jelly Roll, which I loved to see this because, you know, he looks like such a tough guy and whatnot, but he's actually a softie, and I feel like this got to show other people that maybe have only heard of him and aren't country music fans just how good he is. So he was tapped to sing the In Memoriam tribute, which I always feel like would be such like a hard job because you have to kind of hold it together. But he's saying his current top 10 single, I Am Not Okay For It. And he was all dressed up, and behind him was a montage of the television industry stars that have passed away this year. He wore all black. And he also, of course, because he's Jelly Roll, shared a message with the crowd. He said, I believe music's therapeutic. I believe it can heal. I also believe storytelling is just as cathartic. And he said, I hope this song can act as a healing moment for those mourning these storytellers we lost this year. If you're feeling lost or alone tonight, I want you to know that it's okay to not always be okay. And then there was like a string section, and yeah, it was incredible. So you can watch that performance if you missed it, B105country.com. And on to some happier news. Joe Don Rooney from Rascal Flatts, he has been through it, and he just shared a really touching message. He's celebrating 3 years of sobriety. So back in 2021, if you remember, he crashed his car, I think it was like into a tree. And, you know, in 2020, Rascal Flatts announced they were breaking up and they were going on a farewell tour. They were going to reschedule because of COVID. They never did. But, you know, he admitted at that time he'd been abusing alcohol for years. And he said, I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good bandmate. I wasn't a good husband. And then when he got in that car wreck, that changed everything for him. He did plead guilty to DUI for that as well. So he said, thank you all for the birthday wishes. He said, I'm humbled and blown away at all the posts I've seen today. He says, it's been a heck of a journey for me the past 3 years. Not only is today my birthday, but it's my 3-year sobriety date. And he said that he's just very grateful. And he said, anyone out there who's struggling, know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Lean on those who love you. Don't give up before the miracle happens. So you can see his full message, B105country.com. But very moving, very happy for him that he's been sober for 3 years, and definitely something to celebrate. And speaking of something to celebrate, Brantley Gilbert, he has a new album out, and that dropped over the weekend. He shared a really sweet message about it. It's called Tattoos. He said, thank you for all the support over the years. He says, this is my 7th album. It's my favorite. He says, at times I still feel like that little kid from Georgia. I've done a lot more living since putting out my debut record. I know you'll love these 10 songs as much as I do. And of course, he was just here in Duluth over the summer. So love to see it. Check it out. It's called Tattoos. And maybe he'll be back. We'll manifest it for 2025. Brantley Gilbert, bottoms up on B105. Today, partly sunny. Might see some showers and storms. And a high near 83. So I don't know if this guy is a jerk, but a little bit. Like, it's a serious story, but also I have a lot of questions. So this happened in Portland. A man returned to the water moments after being rescued from the Columbia River, refusing to be helped by officials the second time around. So I guess this happened earlier this month. Just before 5 p.m., Vancouver police responded to a report that a man was brought back to shore after being rescued from the Columbia River by a passerby on a jet ski. So a nice Good Samaritan helped this guy out. They were on a jet ski, pulled him to shore because he was clearly struggling. Well, officers and fire crews came to the scene to evaluate him, make sure he was okay, and he just started walking back into the water. Like, instead of like waiting for them, he's just like, I'm just going to go back into the water. And then he started swimming hundreds of yards away from the shore. So officials had to get in a boat to reach the man who was in the water again after being rescued. Authorities say he refused help, and they eventually had to hoist him into the boat. He was nearly hypothermic, so it was a very serious situation, and hopefully, that wasn't what was causing him to kind of act out. But they said he just didn't want to be helped. He kind of just, thought he was fine and wanted to go swimming. So we don't know the current condition of the man. Again, he's not really like a jerk unless he was doing that on purpose, which it kind of seems like he was, but thankfully he's okay, all good. But he was probably, my guess is just a little embarrassed because he went swimming, somebody had to help him, and then when the fire crews come and the police and everything, and you're just like, I'm okay now. Obviously, that's their job, and they want to make sure the guy's okay, but I'm sure he was maybe just a little. Jason Aldean, She's Country on B105. We are going to make some Angel short and sweet today, but wanted to mention this because I'm actually obsessed, and I kind of feel like I would buy a piece of this. So an artist is making furniture out of tennis balls that would otherwise take 400 years to decompose in landfills. So obviously, anything that helps the environment is amazing, but tennis balls, most of them are thrown out, and about 300 million tennis balls are manufactured each year. So a Belgian eco-designer started to repurpose them so they don't go into landfills. So her name is Mathilde Wittock, and her team can carve 1,800 balls per day so that they can be used into furniture. So she's made a lounge chair and a bench. Those are her two main products. But just to also put in perspective how many of these are going into landfills, 70,000 were used in the recent U.S. Open. So it is a big issue. They take 2 to 3 weeks to make. Great for the environment, of course. And also they just look really, really cool. Super, super cool. So definitely would suggest checking that